Hey BooTube, what's up? Good eve, well, technically good morning, cause it's 12:54 a.m. right now. Hang on, let me turn this off before my PlayStation is on. Let me turn off the controller just in case I accidentally bump into it and actually turn it back on. But anyway, I know that I just did The Walking Dead, at least a part 1 video to Walking Dead Season 7 Episode 4 titled Service. I did a part 1 video. I had to stop it around 8 minutes because my boyfriend rang the doorbell, so I had to stop it. And I should be continuing it. I will, but I kind of wanted to get another one out of the way so I wouldn't have to worry about that one at the moment, which would be Arrow Season 5 Episode 7, which premiered 2 days ago, because technically right now it's 12:55, so technically it's Friday today, and a couple of hours ago was Thursday, which was the premiere of the episode for Legends of Tomorrow. So 2 days ago was the premiere of episode 7 of season 5 Arrow, which is titled Vigilante, and I have a feeling it has to do with the actual character Vigilante, because like I said, that one guy, I forgot his name already, but there's this guy, I'm not sure if he's like a detective or something like that, but he's been, Oliver Queen as mayor has been seeing a lot of him, and I looked up his name because it sounded familiar, and I looked him up, and he's actually one of the people that have taken up the mantle of Vigilante in the comics. So I had a feeling we might be seeing Vigilante, and I guess this will be it, because literally the title of this episode is literally Vigilante. But anyway, like I said, Vigilante shows up because apparently this new Vigilante appears in Star City and is basically killing criminals in cold blood. Originally they thought they were just random killings, but then they did research on who, was getting killed, right? And apparently all the people that are being killed by this new Vigilante are literally criminals. And hasn't really gone by the name Vigilante, but they're just calling him the Vigilante because they don't know what name he's going by, right? But anyway, during all this mess, Quentin, he pretty much sends in his resignation as deputy mayor, because remember, I think in the last episode, Thea actually finds out, she finds a bottle of liquor in his desk in the deputy mayor office, and Thea pretty much finds out that Quentin, because she thought that Quentin, he got clean from his alcoholism, and he's just been, he's been sober. He's been sobering up. But apparently, Thea found out that he never sobered up. He was alcoholic the whole time, even since the beginning of this season, basically, right? Thea thought that he was, getting better, but this whole time in all 7 episodes of this season, he's never recovered. He was a continuing alcoholic the whole time. And, during all that, he also tells Thea about the fact that while he's drunk, he ends up getting drunken blackouts. When he's drunk, he just blanks out. He'll blank out and then he'll wake up with, no idea what happened when he blanked out. And we actually saw this in episode 6, which is at the end of episode 6, which is So It Begins, where Quentin ends up waking up. What seems like in a drunken moment, he wakes up, but he wakes up to see he has a cut on his arm, and one of those throwing star things from the, gosh, I forgot his name already. Hang on, guys, hang on. Sorry, guys, I had to try to remember his name without wasting your time here. Prometheus. Remember, Prometheus he killed several people with throwing stars that were actually made from the old arrowheads that Oliver used to use when he was literally the Vigilante in his beginning days. And so basically Oliver and Felicity at the end of episode 6 deduced that the only person who can get access to all of the Vigilante's old arrows, Oliver's old arrowheads, would be someone working for the Star City Police Department. And while they're deducing that, we get a scene of we get like flash scenes where not the Flash superhero, like flash scenes where it goes from Oliver and Oliver talking to Felicity, and then we get a scene immediately of Quentin. It just goes back and forth between those two scenes, and while they're figuring that out, we see the scenes where Quentin wakes up from what seems to be a drunken blackout, and the cut on his arm and the throwing star found in his house on his table. And I'm pointing out the cut on his arm because remember in the last episode, Artemis was fighting Prometheus in the what looks like the BART station to me. I'm not gonna lie, and she does manage to cut Prometheus in the arm, and it's around the same exact spot, right? And Quentin tells her about his drunken blackouts and also tells her about the throwing star he found in his home and the cut on his arm, and he says, I think someone's setting me up. Either that or I'm this ninja vigilante, not vigilante, but this ninja Prometheus that's throwing star and killing people, or he's being set up, right? And while all that's happening, the team decides they have to do something about this vigilante. At first, like the younger members, like Mr. Terrific, Wild Dog, Ragman, and Artemis, they're like, why are we going after this guy? He's like one of us. He's taking on the bad guys. And then Green Arrow's like, we have to take this out. We're already dealing with Prometheus as it is. This crazy killer guy Prometheus. We don't need another person out there besides Prometheus killing people. And he also mentions, when you guys found out that I was killing people in cold blood, you didn't like it. And now someone else is doing it, and all of a sudden you want to, help this guy? You can't have it both ways, guys, and I kind of agree. It's like, dude, you guys hated the fact, you guys found out Oliver used to kill criminals in cold blood, just like this vigilante is. You guys didn't like him. Now all of a sudden someone else is doing what he used to do, and you guys are like, we shouldn't stop him, he's one of us. It's like, choose a side, you jerks, right? But, during this episode, they try to find ways to intercept this vigilante. They try intercepting Vigilante during this bank robbery because there's this guy named Eric Dunn who's like the head of this little group of robbers that ended up doing a bank robbery. And Eric Dunn being the only one that managed to escape, Vigilante's trying to go after them, but unfortunately, Vigilante's just one step ahead over and over again, right? But, now I remember his name. His name was Adrian something, the guy that I looked up, and he's actually one of the guys in the comics that went by the name Vigilante. I remember now. Adrian. He's like a cop or something like that, because I remember he had custody of that one robber that got away, Eric Dunn, and he actually managed... No, wait. Strike that. Let me rephrase that. Adrian caught one of the other robbers. Eric Dunn, like I said, he's one of the robbers that got away. Everyone else did not. Adrian managed to get one of the robbers to reveal Dunn's location. But what I thought was weird is how Adrian did it. Because he was talking to the female robber, I believe, and something, I don't remember exactly what he said, but the words he said kind of made me suspicious of him. And again, I already had my suspicions because, like I said, Adrian's name, I looked it up because it sounded way too familiar. And the fact that there's someone named I forgot his last name, but there's someone named Adrian in the comics that actually does take up the mantle of Vigilante at one point. I had a seeking suspicion that maybe this new Vigilante in this episode could possibly be Adrian. And it kind of solidated that when I saw Adrian interrogating this female robber that was part of Eric Dunn's group. Because he kind of made himself look like Vigilante even more. I'm not sure if Oliver picked it up because he was actually watching the interrogation. But if I didn't think Adrian was Vigilante already, because I read the comics and I know he is, he's making it seem more like it now. And I don't know if Oliver's suspicious of it. He looked like he was suspicious of it because he was actually, watching the interrogation. But anyway, Green Arrow manages to locate Eric Dunn because, like I said, Oliver was watching the interrogation, so he knows where exactly Eric Dunn is and manages to get to him before Vigilante. But as he finds him in that hotel, vigilantes all shooting up the place, but he does manage to save Eric Dunn from the vigilante. And small things that happen in this episode, not really small, but like, one thing that was small was, Oliver and that one chick, Susan, were starting to get closer, and I was like, ew. I don't like that. But anyway, another thing, which semi-small, but it was a pretty big thing, like, Thea manages to convince Quentin to actually go to rehab, which I think is really good for him. Like, I know Quentin's hurting. I mean, remember when they all thought they lost Sarah on the Queen's Gambit in the beginning? Remember, Sarah went with Oliver and Oliver's dad on the Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit sank. Everyone thought everyone was dead. Both Queens and Sarah. He ended up drinking. He ended up getting divorced. I mean, if that could happen with Sarah, and then when she ended up getting shot by a brainwashed Thea and killed again, depression again. So I'm not surprised at losing Laurel, especially Laurel, because Laurel, she's the firstborn kid. Laurel's been there for Quentin since the beginning. Like, he's been there when they first lost Sarah. She was there when they lost Sarah again. She was there when he got a divorce with his wife. She was there from the beginning. And she's also the firstborn. So to lose the one person that was basically his rock for the longest time can do things to you. I'm not surprised that that was the main reason why he just never recovered from his alcoholism, honestly. But anyway, the team decides to pretend to... The only way the team thought to pretty much lure Vigilante is to pretend to be bank robbers and to rob a bank, because Vigilante seems to be going for those people, right? And so we got Artemis and Mr. Terrific in a lookout van outside, and Felicity, Wild Dog, Ragman, I believe also Diggle was also helping, as well as Oliver. Obviously, he came a little later, but they were in the bank. But unfortunately for them, Vigilante pretty much knocks out Artemis, punches poor Mr. Terrific, poor Curtis, and he's all like bloody lip, and he's like, "Get your boss, aka Green Arrow, or else your friend here is going to die." And of course, there's a little mini fight between Vigilante and Green Arrow, where Oliver actually gets the upper hand and actually traps him. But unfortunately, just as he's about to unmask him, I don't know how, but Vigilante sends like one of those flash bombs that pretty much stuns Oliver and like throws him back a bit. And when the smoke clears and the light dawn, Vigilante's gone, right? So that happened, and also Thea also tells Oliver about Quentin's what's been happening to Quentin and the fact that he's possibly being framed. And they also deduce that the reason why Quentin's being framed is because he's close to Oliver, and they think that Prometheus is going after everyone that's close to Oliver because they think Prometheus might know Green Arrow is actually Oliver. And remember that one guy, I forgot his name already, that one gangster dude actually told Prometheus, hey, Green Arrow is Oliver Queen, right? So maybe that's why he's framing Quentin. Anyone close to Oliver, he'll frame, right? And I kind of could see that. But anyway, the biggest shocker of them all is toward the end of the episode. We see Evelyn. She's in her Artemis outfit. And I thought she was just doing like, just chilling around, checking around like normal team members. But apparently, she's out there at night alone. She pretty much escaped everyone. She apparently wanted to be alone. And for good reason, because all of a sudden Prometheus comes out of nowhere, and she literally turns to him in her Artemis garb. She's like, don't worry, no one followed me, nobody knows. So apparently our girl Evelyn, aka Artemis, is apparently working with Prometheus, and I am kind of not surprised, especially since she took up the name Artemis, because if you remember in the comics, Artemis in the comics is technically a bad guy, and the only time I ever saw Artemis, I saw Artemis twice in media. I believe they saw a kid version of her in Batman Brave and the Bold. And of course, Young Justice, they have a teenager version of her, but in that one she's a hero. So could Prometheus actually be Sportsmaster? Shocker. But anyway, that's my reaction. I'm running out of time. That's my reaction rant to Arrow Season 5, Episode 7, Vigilante, and I'll see you guys for Walking Dead. Bye, Boo-Too.